Are you struggling to find the right clients who will pay more for your freelance consulting work? Do you feel like it's an uphill battle trying to grow your income? If you're like most freelancers, you're focused on offering the very best services you can. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that alone will never get you high paying clients. Because the truth is, clients don't care about your services. They only care about their own problems. That's just human nature. They care about the things that are causing them pain in their business. And if all you're focused on is delivering your services, you're never going to achieve the success you want. Simply put, if what you offer doesn't solve a big pain for your client, you're never going to earn a big payment from your client. And you'll spend the rest of your freelancing career doing small jobs for small money. Once I learned this in my own freelance consulting business, I jumped from making 5 figures per year to multiple 6 figures per year. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how you can solve your clients' biggest pain points and start earning the freelance income you desire. Think of it like a scavenger hunt. When I was a kid, I used to go to a daily summer recreation program. One day, we did a scavenger hunt. They divided us up into small teams and gave us a list of items to find. First team back with all the items wins. So as soon as we got the list, we rushed off. The problem was, for some of the items, we had no idea what they were. I remember one of the items was a dust bunny. None of us had ever heard of a dust bunny before. So we discussed it as a group. Now we were all like 7 or 8 years old. You can imagine how that discussion went. In the end, we decided it must be something you use to dust. We actually ended up getting someone to give us their feather duster. We didn't find out till we got back. That's not what a dust bunny is. Needless to say, we didn't win the scavenger hunt. Bottom line, we didn't win because we didn't know what we were looking for. It's the same with freelancing. When it comes to finding your potential clients' pain points, the first step is knowing what you're looking for. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't recognize it when you come across it. Now, there are 5 categories of pain points that every single business struggles with. To make this easy, I created something I call the pain point spinner. Think of this as an actual physical spinner. You can literally spin it, and wherever it lands, every company will struggle to some degree with that pain point. I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong with any one of these. The first pain point on the spinner is revenue pain. This is the number one pain point for any company. Why? Because if you have no revenue, you have no business. Now, you may have investors. You may have an infusion of venture capital into your business, but that will only last so long because investors are going to want a return on their investment. Years ago, I did a project for one of my clients. I developed a customer portal, and this allowed my clients' customers to go into the portal and access real-time data. They could see where all their shipments were anywhere in the world. They could also go in and create and also schedule custom reports. They could download documents. They could set up automatic notifications. They could upload their product databases. Pretty much anything they need to do, they could do in that portal. And what happened was this actually became a powerful sales tool for my client because no one else in the industry had anything like it. So every time they went to a sales meeting and they showed them this customer portal, clients were signing up in droves. Now, with each of these pain points, there's also a caveat. And when it comes to revenue, the caveat with solving the revenue pain is that increased revenue pain almost always means increased fulfillment. And increased fulfillment means increased expenses, which is the next pain point. Pain point of expenses. Think of this as the costs of doing business. This is potentially the highest impact pain point of all the pain points. Why? Well, because it directly affects profit. Moving this lever can take a company from negative cash flow to positive cash flow. It can almost single-handedly determine the success or failure of a company. Years ago, I worked on a project for my client who was a real estate company. What I did was I automated their real estate magazine layout. They would pay someone every single month to lay out an entire magazine that they would put in the grocery stores in the local area to showcase the properties that they had listed. And so they pay this person every single month to pull pictures, to pull descriptions, to pull the contact information, to get the listing price, and organize that on almost 50 pages of a monthly magazine. So what I did was I wrote some code that automatically pulled all of that information, pictures, descriptions, listing price, contact information, and assembled it into each page in a PDF, stitched all those pages together. So all my client had to do was send a single PDF directly to the printing company. That saved them a fortune, and that compounded because every single month they had to pay that graphics person to lay out the magazine. Now, when it comes to expenses, the caveat here is that companies need to be surgical when they're cutting their expenses, because cutting too much can actually inhibit growth. There's a story of a company who wanted to save labor costs. So instead of having customers call them and selling on the phone, they replaced their call information on the website with a buy online feature. What happened? Well, sales plummeted and growth stalled because their staff was really good at closing on the phone. So they ended up getting rid of the online purchase option. They went back to selling over the phone, which brings us to the next pain point, the pain point of growth. Because if a business isn't growing, it's shrinking. A healthy business is a growing business. And other than just being in a healthy growth mode, also the size of a business can create opportunities. For example, investments, acquisitions, if maybe the owner is looking to make an exit someday. Also, partnerships. Some companies won't work with other companies unless they're of a certain size. Now, another aspect of growth is that if a company is growing, there will always be growing pains, and growing pains create obstacles. So if you can provide a system that overcomes a bottleneck that allows them to either resume growing or start growing again, that's an amazing solution that will allow them to solve this pain point. I am currently working on a project where I'm helping my client transition from their existing business intelligence platform to Power BI embedded. And the reason they're doing that is because with their existing business intelligence platform, they need to purchase an additional license for each new user that they want to give access to the reports. This has become cost prohibitive for them because they provide this to their clients, and their clients have thousands and thousands of users. Now, Power BI Embedded doesn't have that per user license limitation. So this has become a great solution for them. And this is something that they actually use as a sales tool because it's something that sets them apart in their market. Now, the caveat with growth is that oftentimes as a company grows, bigger also means slower because things can just take longer, which leads us to the next pain point, which is time. Now, time is a company's biggest asset. They leverage the hours their employees work. So if processes are not optimized, this can cause huge issues for a company. See, the key for them is to maximize the output of each employee. And you do this by saving time operationally. For example, one thing you could do is to optimize and streamline their workflows. Maybe replace older, outdated workflows with newer, more modern workflows, more modernized, maybe with the UI or the UX. You could also provide training to employees to help them use software more efficiently or use systems more efficiently. And another area that you could save a company a lot of time is by automating manual processes. There's so many processes that companies have people do that are prone to, first of all, slowness, but secondly, human error. So if you can automate these processes and make a computer do it or a system do it, you're going to save your client a bunch of time. I recently worked on a project for one of my human services clients. And during the pandemic, they needed to track various metrics to support some of the funding that they were provided. This took so many hours every week. What I ended up doing for them was writing some code, some VBA code inside of Excel, automating the entire process, saving them so much time so they could use the scarce human resources they have in a better way. Now, the caveat with time is that it is possible to over optimize. With saving time, there is always that law of diminishing returns. Now, none of these first 4 pain points mean anything if a company can't solve the 5th pain point, which is competition pain. You see, a company might be really good at what they do, but if the competition is better, they're still going to lose. Success in a competitive market usually requires innovation, a company developing their own intellectual property. This gives them a huge advantage in 2 different ways. First, they have a product or a service or technology that no one else has, and this gets them out in front of their competition. The second thing is that intellectual property is protected by law, whether it's patent law or copyright law or trademark law. That gives them a 2-fold advantage in the market. Years ago, I worked for a real estate information company. They were one of my clients. And what they did was they took publicly available real estate information and they created proprietary algorithms and used this information to develop their own products, which they then sold to other real estate companies. And what they did was they developed something that was so unique in the marketplace. They ended up being one of the most successful online companies to come out of my city. Now, the caveat with competition is this. If a company puts too much focus on trying to beat the competition, they can end up taking their eye off doing their basic day-to-day operations, the things that keep them in business. And this can ultimately lead to their downfall. Now, once you've identified your client's biggest pain points, next, you'll need to know how to come up with a solution that solves the pain and then present that in a proposal to your client. So if you want to understand how to do that, watch this video where I break the entire process down. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.